Welcome to Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another
it!
one!
Oladipo!
Another one! Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Galloway finds Rob Finnessy, who fires the three in.
He hit it!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Hey, everybody. How are you? Welcome aboard. Indiana Sports Beat, day 2, it feels like. No, it's day 3. It's Wednesday. Man, losing track of time. How you doing? How's it going? We have reached the halfway point. Wow, surprised me. Got here quicker than I thought. Great day. A fun day. Wednesdays are always great. You got Bob Kravitz, Kyle Neddenriep, Rick Bozich. That's all-star day, man. That's like say that's all-star day. Well, one of them's a Hall of Famer. Another one probably will be a Hall of Famer. But yeah. What's new and what's shaking? Looking forward to Bob, as always. Everybody jumping in on the Andy Moore Honda hotline. A lot of basketball this week. As a matter of fact, coming up tonight, the senior team and the juniors are going to go at it up in Fortville, Mount Vernon. And then Friday and Saturday, the seniors are at it in the All-Star games this week. So they take center stage. And then CJ Gunn will be heading on into Bloomington. He's probably already moved in. But the freshmen are here, and he will join his team, the rest of the team, for permanently. And those guys will begin their journey, which they've already started. We talked about yesterday, him catching that big fish. What's new with you? What's going on, everybody? I hope that, happy hump day. I should have a day once a week for what's my favorite. To talk about stuff. Actually, Friday, Mitchell Page is coming back. He's going to come back every Friday, but we're just going to be. He's been studying all week because we were talking about something. I think it was the movie Tombstone. So he's been studying all week, reading and researching. Actually, 2 things that we're going to discuss when Mitch comes back on Friday. The fact that the first train robbery in the history of the United States was committed by the Reno brothers out of Jackson County, baby. They were not the James gang. It was the Reno brothers. It was the first group of outlaws. He got all into that. And so I'm like, all right, we'll have a little fun. So he'll be back Friday and we'll be having some fun with that. Anybody heading up to the All-Star games, going to the All-Star games? Kentucky's edition is in. The world is going on with my phone. Owensboro. They put it right on the river so those Kentucky fans can come over so the Indiana fans can come over and watch because they need all the help they can get. I don't understand why they can't draw, but they do not. That's a good question. Jacob Weiss says, can we get Mark Cuban on the show to talk about his company's NIL deal with IU? Well, that would be good. Xavier Booker, MVP of the Pangos All-American Camp. Yeah, his stock is just really, really rising. We'll talk about him later as well. But, and that, I mean, that's one that you're like, okay, why do they not get him? That's a pure Indiana kid, but they're not going. He's not going to end up in Indiana. Well, I mean, I guess never say never, but that's not what the tea leaves are saying at the moment. But if his progress continues, he might be end up being a one and done. Who knows? He continues to really, really grow. He's just a junior. He's skyrocketing. But we'll see. It's not Indiana will have the talent, but you sure would like to see him grab one like him that's close by. Yeah, he's Michigan State has got their hooks in him pretty good at the moment. And we'll see. Hey, don't forget about the WOW Club. I forgot to mention that when we started. It's a totally free app to sign up for. Start earning WOW rewards today. WOW Club members earn exclusive dining discounts and dollars to spend and more. It's sent directly to your mobile phone. Just go to your Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Make sure you sign up for that. That really helps us. How many of you have done that? Seriously, they are a big sponsor, a proud sponsor of IU Athletics. It's a group of restaurants and other places that, like BB's Market, for example, Southern Stone, Courtroom Sports Grill, Feast Market and Cellar, Cabello, all that and much more. But BB's is a great example because that is anybody from anywhere can order steaks, sausages. Wait till you see this stuff. I'm going to start doing some shows from there. And once a week, I'm going to try to start doing a giveaway from there. You know what? Yeah. Start doing a giveaway from there. Their steaks and food are amazing. It's like people order this stuff and it's shipped all over the country. But you can visit BB's Market at visitbbsmarket.com. So there you go. Jalen Hood-Schifino named amongst the most important freshmen by Andy Katz. That doesn't, no offense, that doesn't mean a lot to me, but I don't need him to tell me that Jalen Hood-Schifino is one of the most important freshmen. Of course he is. Let's see. I was reading something and got distracted. Anyway, yeah, he's one of the most important freshmen. He's a 5-star. He's going to start at Indiana. Of course, he's important. He's one of the most important freshmen. He's going to start at Indiana, a team that is prognosticated to be one of the favorites to win the Big Ten. You think he's not one of the most important freshmen? Yeah. 6'5" point guard's got a very good shot to start next to Xavier Johnson. I'm expecting that. That's going to give them. I just keep talking about that. That's how that's going to change things. Of having him in that 2 spot because it's Xavier's going to be the 1, but it's going to be a hybrid 1-2 now. I think he'll be able to be the 1 and become the 2 off of Jalen Hood-Schifino. I think that's going to be a big addition to their offense. And it's not really talked about because it's not a player. I think it's the combination of those two players that is creating something different. But yeah, Indiana's going to be a fun team to watch next year. Let's just cut to the chase. They're going to be hard to beat, but they're not going to be unbeatable because if they had a deadly, or actually not just one, you can't have one. You can't rely on one. You need two guys that can consistently shoot from outside. And I'm not talking about knocking down 30 points a game. Just hitting your 2, 3, 4 shots a game from outside. 2 of them. Consistent. That's if you look at a lot of the big Duke and North Carolina, those teams, man, they probably average, what was it, a couple years ago? Duke averaged hitting 4 3-pointers a game. I mean, that's all. You don't have to be prolific at it. You just need to not be horrific at it. And I think also, I've said this over and over, Indiana's offense and their shooting will be better because I think there's going to be less pressure around the horn. I think there's going to be less pressure on Miller Kopp. And that's hard to say considering he's coming off of a season where basically, he didn't do the things that a lot of people thought that he was going to be able to do. Well, maybe that wasn't fair, but regardless, I think there's going to be less pressure on him. I think you may see a better Miller Kopp because of that. And if those things happen, there's another chip in Indiana's basket. But yeah, I think that they're going to be a fun team without question. Leslie points out less pressure, more height, more decisiveness. I do. And what I mean by less pressure, I think that Trace Jackson Davis, without question, is the man. We all know that, but he's surrounded by a lot of guys that are not yes men that can do it themselves. Race Thompson, obviously. Xavier, obviously. We haven't seen Jalen Hood-Schifino and some of these guys on the floor yet, but the talent that surrounds him is a known quantity. And then the only question is, how much have they improved? How much will they improve? Tamar Bates, Jordan Geronimo. You can go down the line of the guys that are already here. Then the question is, CJ Gunn, can he be that guy, that shooter? Who knows? We'll find out. Hey, we got to take a break. It's a great day. The great Bob Kravitz from The Athletic is coming up next. We'll talk to him. Looking forward to it. Back with more Indiana Sports Beat, brought to you by our good friends at the Wow Club. Make sure you go there and sign up. It's a totally free app to sign up for. Start earning Wow rewards today. Wow Club members earn exclusive dining discounts, dining dollars to spend, and more sent directly to your phone. And I think I saw someone asking for an app. Yeah, or a link. We'll get that up here in a second. Put it up there for you. We're back with more Indiana Sports Beat right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
The sun is out, the birds are chirping, and the fairways are emerald.
Good morning.
Hello, Roberts. You look like a fresh breath of sunshine.
A fresh breath of sunshine. I didn't know sunshine could breathe, but
well,
you sound like shit, Jim. You all right?
Yeah, my voice not good.
I thought you were coming down with something, or
well, I don't have coffee.
Okay, well that can certainly be a problem. I have mine right here in my athletic cup.
Get my warm up deal. I ran out of time. I've got to go run in there. Luckily, you know what? I can start it. I think I pre-made it last night.
Well, go get it, by God. You got to talk to me.
I'm never thinking in advance, and for once I was thinking in advance. The one bad thing is I have one of those Keurigs.
Yeah, I have the same thing. Takes a while.
Yeah, so it's like Johnny Cash. Got it one cup at a time, but it sure takes a little bit of time.
Can I hit the leave button?
Don't worry, everybody else will. Oh, don't worry. There's worse things. I've been writing my first rap song.
Oh Lord!
I don't know why. It just came to be.
Just in a moment of inspiration, huh?
I swear, I promise you. One of my writers kept asking me questions, and these lyrics just came out. I said, "Look what you're inspiring me to write my first rap song."
You want to share it on this air?
Oh no! It's not completed for one.
Oh, okay.
So no. How are you doing?
Not bad. Just got the Colts. Colts are in veteran mini camp right now. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we're all over that. I'll be there today and tomorrow again and come up with something.
25 seconds.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, I just rolled out of bed too.
I got it one piece at a time, and it didn't cost me a dime.
More Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by K-Bello. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, welcome back. It is Wednesday. We made it to the halfway point. Bob Kravitz from The Athletic joins us now.
I thought you were. I didn't think you were going to come back. I thought I was going to have to do the intro.
You know what?
I should Sports Beat Radio, sponsored by hell. I don't know.
I'll have to try that sometime. See how that works out.
Yeah, no. The only way I'll do that for you is if you play your rap song for the masses on this air.
Once I get done, maybe I will. Once I finish. Thad Matta,
yes,
is kind of rolling. I mean, nothing has happened, but things seem to be going well for him at Butler.
Yeah, they got a couple of transfers. Obviously, Eric Hunter Jr. from Purdue is probably the biggest name. There's a kid from Akron, Ali, I think is his name. So look, he's a hell of a proven coach. He's got his health is in the right place after several years of really struggling after back surgery. So I think that he's going to be fine. This is a guy who won 4 or 5 Big Ten titles, got to the NCAA Final Four twice, once with Conley and Oden. So I think it was a great pickup, and that like Indiana, a lot of momentum in that program right now.
Yeah, and good for him. And speaking of Indiana, the Hoosiers will be they're all in town. The freshmen have moved in, so they're out and together and doing that bonding stuff, everything that goes along with that. We've got the All-Star games that are coming up, all of that action as well. You've got the Colts. Let's talk about the Colts first.
Yes.
They're out of Abbott, little mini camp action.
Yeah, this is a big thing because they didn't do this last year. The players didn't want to do it, and they kind of talked, and they had the right through the CBA to make a deal with the Colts, and so they decided not to do it, and they made it very clear from Ballard, Irsay, and Reich. They thought that was one of the reasons why they got off to a slow start. With a new quarterback and to not have the normal complement of OTAs was a really stupid, selfish move on the part of the players. And they're doing it now, and I think it's going to give them a step up on what they need to do, especially early in the season when they've got a couple of AFC South games that they can't afford to lose to Houston and to Jacksonville.
I'm going to try to get you to go out and come back in. I think we got a little audio popping going on, so just jump out and we'll get him back in here. But yeah, it's that time of year, man, where you don't think about it, but the NFL is getting ready in the background. I keep saying we're not that far away. We're inside 100 days of the football countdown already. But I noticed as well, it's probably about 155 days inside of college basketball. So that's where we've come down to, man. $100-day countdowns for everything. When it's over, we start doing the countdown, looking back for more. But it'll be back here as soon as maybe sooner than you think, but not really. But football will be here. It's rolling around. And then as soon as football gets here, basketball is right underneath because it gives I forgot what I was going to say, but yeah, it's right there beside him. Kyle Neddenriep on the program today as well. Rick Bozich, looking forward to that as well as wait for Bob Kravitz to make his return. There he comes. Looking forward to that. There you go. Look, sounding like a champ now.
Good. Well, I have that mellifluous voice that's, it's a face for radio and a voice for God knows what.
Yeah, I got that, all that as well. Back to the Colts. First season, obviously, with Matty Ice. Not just and they're finally in the position that you begged for all of last year. They not only do they have a better starting quarterback, but they have the backup that you have so long for, asked for. So now they have the pieces in place.
Right. Yeah. No, I think Nick Foles would have been here last year, but they didn't want to do that to the very sensitive Carson Wentz. They didn't want him to sit, with Foles in the background, maybe take his job when he was just an insecure guy, which is one of the reasons why he's no longer with the Colts. Look, Foles as a starter has never been any good, but in the short term, you can count on Foles to at least give you a professional performance. I've never understood why GMs are so insistent upon depth at every position, and yet, a quarterback, they're willing to go with some fourth-round draft pick like Ellinger and take their chances and basically lose games that the starter's not in. So I think this is a great, great move.
The ironic thing is, didn't the Wentz and Foles duo that happened in Philly, right?
Right. And that was not apparently that made him very uncomfortable, very he just didn't feel good with Foles looking over his shoulder, which should tell you everything you need to know about Carson Wentz. Here was a guy who was second pick in the draft. He was a guy who was on an MVP path. His second or third year, I can't recall. Why he would worry about Nick Foles as much as he did, I don't know. But obviously, Foles came in and led that playoff push, and they beat New England in one of the great Super Bowls ever. Again, I think Nick Foles gives them a security blanket that they haven't had in many, many years since Jacoby Brissett, basically.
Yeah, and this is probably better than, well, I won't say it's better than that, but it's better than that. In the aggregate of the one and the two, they're probably better situated than they were back then.
Yeah, probably. I mean, we're talking, I thought Jacoby was a guy, I mean, you could win a couple of games a year that he started. Remember, they started, I think, 5-2, and then they fell off the face of the earth later in the season. Part of it was an injury to Jacoby. Part of it was Jacoby's not that good. Again, I think Nick Foles, if you have one game you need to win, or you need him to play a couple of quarters because Matty Ice got dinged, then yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly comfortable with it. I thank God they finally did it. I think it's going to come in very, very handy, even though Matt Ryan is a bit of an Iron Man and doesn't often get hurt. But you never know. He just turned 37. The body changes, you get hurt, and all those nagging things start to become an issue.
Is he on the TB12 program?
I had a friend who went on the TB12 diet just for fun. So it's the most disgusting thing he's ever done. He lost weight and he looked good and he felt good, but he said eating should be fun. Eating that TB12 crap was not fun.
But that tells you, really does, and I have to give it to him, the constant determination of Tom Brady to last this long. I mean, it truly is, to play quarterback in the National Football League for the length of time that he has in this day and age. It's pretty remarkable. I mean,
it is remarkable, but I want to take once in a while.
Oh, I hear you. Brother, I've got my own diet. It's called stress. I have a big dose for breakfast, a little bit of lunch, and another big helping for dinner, and a little snack of it for bed. It is always yeah.
Whatever works for you, Jim Coyle.
That's it. Hey, also big news as far as Simone Biles and the others in that group are seeking over $1 billion from the FBI over the Larry Nassar case, as they should.
Good for them.
How the officers, they got away scot-free without no punishment, which that's neither here nor there. But
no, good because they they got victimized multiple times. They got victimized, obviously, by Nassar. They got victimized by the Gymnastics Federation. And then they got victimized by the FBI. They didn't do squat about what they were talking about. We need to listen to women. We need, people are saying the Me Too movement is dead now because of the Johnny Depp thing. To me, that was an anomaly. When women cry, have these issues, we need to freaking believe them. And look, if there's nothing there, there's nothing there. But when this many young ladies, it's kind of like the Deshaun Watson thing, with 24 civil cases now. Sports Illustrated just reported that he sought out 66 massage therapists in 17 months. I mean, how do you not believe the women? I mean,
who did? Are you talking about
Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, 66.
66 in 17 months. I guess he couldn't find one he liked.
Well, there you go. Also, you've got I guess, is your most recent piece on the Post Indy?
Yeah, that, and I wrote about that, but
tell me about, but I didn't, I was out of town, didn't get to go to Indy, watched it, listened to it. What a great race. There had been so many times where that race wasn't great.
Yeah.
The racing is good now.
Yeah.
I'm becoming an Indy car fan as well. I mean, I watched NASCAR. I watched the Detroit Grand Prix. That was kind of fun. I'm starting to enjoy this racing a lot more now, and the racing seems to be getting better, if that's possible.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, it's a flat track, so it's tough to pass, but these cars are so advanced technologically that, you know, these drivers are able to pass. And I thought the right guy won the race because Marcus Ericsson, had almost a 3-second lead with 5-6 laps to go, and his teammate of all people, Jimmy Johnson, crashed out, and that led to a restart. You know, they red flagged and they restarted it, and you thought, oh, here comes Tony Kanaan, and who doesn't root for Tony Kanaan? Certainly I do. But
why is he so well liked?
He's just the nicest guy in the world, man. I mean, if you had him on the air, he would just fill the time with humor and humanity, and he's just a really good guy. You know, it's the only way I can really describe it. But nobody knows Marcus Ericsson. He was a longtime F1 guy who didn't do anything. He's Swedish. We don't really know him in this country. It's kind of like when Takuma Sato of Japan won. We're like, who? Is there anybody else we can write about?
Fun race. Jimmy Johnson, speaking of him, his first Indy 500, former NASCAR guy, crashed out on there with that 3-second lead that his teammate had to shrink. And when that happened, I was like, man, if this dude loses the Indy 500 because of that was a that was a bad mistake by Johnson. He put his tire down on that concrete, and I guess the difference between being on the track and that concrete is sudden.
You slide right out. No, that would have been if I was Chip Ganassi, I would have been pissed at Jimmy Johnson for making that mistake. But at the same time, he is a rookie. It's only his second time on an oval. The first time was in Texas a couple of weeks back. So I guess you give him a hall pass for that. But yeah, I mean, I thought the right guy won the race, and it was a good race. And I'm like you. I've been here I haven't been here as long as you. You've been here forever, but I've been here 22 years, and honestly, I'm a stick and puck guy, and I still don't go out of my way to watch Belle Isle, or what have you. But the Indy 500 to me is so fascinating. The race itself and the whole lead up to the race, the qualifications, the stories, the crashes. By the way, how does Colton Herta survive something like that? It amazes me the technology and the safety elements of these cars, and the fact that he went for a long ride on his head and was completely uninjured. It's amazing.
He was saved by racing today and not 5 years ago.
Absolutely, there's no question about it.
It is Jimmy Johnson. Jimmy Johnson's wreck did not look that bad, probably. Because luckily a lot of the energy was taken out because he does a 360 before he gets to the wall,
right?
Where he he ends up hitting it head on. But even at that point, I don't know at the speed that he's down to by then. It's probably he's down to 140 miles an hour, maybe. But you're going head on into something that's going to stop your momentum fast at 140 miles an hour. 10 years ago, he probably dies without the Hans, the head and neck restraint device, without the safer barrier wall. Mm-hmm. That's a different scenario.
And certainly, and the arrow screen, the arrow screen.
Well, that's you talking about the halo.
Yeah,
that's what saved Colton Huerta. That's what saved his life, and that's what I meant from 5 years ago. They didn't have that, and I'm like, oh my God. I was like, how did they ever not have this? But you know what? In NASCAR, I looked. They used to not have the safety net. There's a great wreck by Richard Petty at Darlington, one of the well-known tracks of today, where it's the pit road entrance, the wall that divides pit road and the rest of the track.
Right.
He somehow ends up hitting the end of that like head on.
Ooh.
And there's no safer barriers back there. He took the wall out and the car flips, I think. And then at the end, you can see his arm laying outside of the vehicle because it's laying over. And his mom, I think, or someone, mom or his wife, knitted up the very first net screen.
Is that right? Well, I'll tell you what, the Earnhardt death.
They had now that made him
that changed everything. I have an old friend, he used to be a publisher at the Indianapolis Star named Tim Franklin, who was then at the Orlando paper, and he went to court and got all the documentation, which pissed off a lot of racing people, but it led to them being forced to add elements of safety to the sport. And I remember when I was much younger, before I was paying attention to the sport, I remember the old Jim Murray line from the Los Angeles Times: "Gentlemen, start your coffins." That was a year when like 3 guys passed away during the month of May. So it's a very different sport, and thank God that it is. But man, it's still, I remember going to Denver and watching Robert Wickens, who was in a terrible crash at Pocono. I remember watching him, painstakingly rehab. And look, it's still the most dangerous sport there is.
Well, you could watch the Earnhardt crash over and over, and it looks like one of the most benign wrecks you've ever seen in NASCAR. But what people cannot grasp, as even he's going forward, and then he's going forward in this direction. Well, he's still going forward at about 180 miles an hour.
Right.
This is at a time where he was a rebel. He wore the open face helmet.
Yes.
He didn't even have a shield. He would wear goggles if he needed to, but I think he eventually would go to a shield maybe. But the Hans, the head and neck restraint system.
Right.
Had come out. I think a lot of Indy guys were using it. I don't know if it was required in Indy at that time. It was not required in NASCAR. Only a handful of guys or I can't remember, but guys were using it in NASCAR, but it was not required.
Right.
And he's one of those guys that I had heard that he had even unstitched some of his restraints because he didn't like being restrained. But if I remember correctly, he died from his head being snapped and I think maybe a blunt trauma to the steering wheel on the right side. And now if you look at the seats in NASCAR, I mean, man, they come out this far, as far as your elbow, and 4 of them, and about that much padding.
Right.
So you cannot move in that direction. The Hans, the head and neck restraint system keeps your head from snapping forward. And
it's a different sport now, and it needs to be. I mean, we were just losing too many people, especially in IndyCar. You know, I remember Mario Andretti went out for a drive a couple of years ago and flew through the air. I don't know if it was a practice run or what he was doing, but it's like, how in the hell did he survive that? And you find yourself consistently, in wonderment and amazement about how these guys walk away from these hellish crashes.
Absolutely, man. They're badasses like you, brother. What's coming up next?
Well, I'm doing something. I'm going out to Colts today. They got mini camp. I'm going to do something about Kenny Moore, who is at practice, and his mini holdout is no longer. But I'm curious how he feels about his contract to the extent that he may actually talk about it. And then I'm doing something on the very special relationship between DeForest Buckner and Frank Reich. Frank went to DeForest's baptism about 1.5 2 years ago. And so I talked to them about, their spiritual relationship, which may interest nobody except for me, but I'm going to write that at some point. And it's a slow time in Indy, so there's not a hell of a lot to write about unless you're Doyle, and then you write 6 times a week.
All right, brother. Well, appreciate it. Look, I hope you can make it down for the Jordan Hulls golf outing on June 23rd.
Well, I hope I get an invite.
Well, you're invited now. I mean,
okay, cool.
There you go. I'll send that to you if you don't already have that. But everybody else as well, go to thehoosier.com. But we'll hit a break. I'll talk about that later. But the great Bob Kravitz from The Athletic. Make sure you're a subscriber. I am. Great coverage by those guys. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you, buddy. Take care.
The great Bob Kravitz. We're back with Kyle Neddenriep from the Indy Star right after this here on Indiana Sports Beat, brought to you by our good friends from the WOW Network and the WOW Club. Make sure it's a total free app. Go there and sign up. We'll get that link for you up here in a little bit. You can go to your Apple App Store or Google Play Store and just look up WOW Club. It'll pop up on your phone. Back with more on Indiana Sports Beat right after this.
We'll be right back to the golf club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Andy Moore Honda is Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
There it is. Yeah, I already have it. Let's see. Oh, flip. Man, Kyle was there and he left.
What's up?
Kyle was there and then left.
Oh, he was in and then came out?
Yeah.
I don't think he's supposed to come on until maybe. No, he's supposed to come on at 9:10. Huh. He should be in shortly.
He was on and we went long with Bob. I hope that didn't. Screw him up. I hope that didn't screw him up.
Let me shoot him a text real quick.
God damn it. I did. I texted him. I need coffee. Oh, mercy.
"30 seconds, Jim."
Okay, thanks.
Hey, Kyle, how you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Oh, good, brother. Busy week for you, huh?
Oh, yeah.
How you been? How's your summer? Well, I guess summer's starting.
Oh, pretty good. Covering some golf, covering some.
We're going back right now.
This segment is brought to you by BB's Market in Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio here on this Wednesday. It's hump day, man. We're about to make it halfway through, brought to you by our good friends at BB's Market, a part of the Wow Club. Make sure you go there and sign up. We'll get to that. Welcome in Kyle Neddenriep from the Indy Star, of course. Kyle, how are you doing, brother?
Hey, doing good, Jim. How are you?
Cannot complain. It's usually supposed to be a slower time for especially people like you, but it's not. We had Sunday action with the junior all-stars playing each other in Bedford. Tonight, the juniors play the seniors up in Fortville. Then Friday and Saturday is the all-star weekend down in Owensboro and Southport High School. So a busy week of basketball just on that front.
Yeah, it sure is. I wasn't able to get to we had our sports awards banquet on Sunday. And that's always a really neat experience for us to be able to see all those athletes, high school athletes come in and be recognized. So I wasn't able to, we had our intern who does a really good job. Wilson was down there covering that, but
Wilson
Moore. But I happened to be in Bedford the day before that for softball, but wasn't able to see basketball. But yeah, tonight will be interesting. The juniors and the seniors play, and I think assuming Xavier Booker is going to make it back, which last I heard that was going to be the case, that'll be an interesting matchup with the juniors against the seniors. The seniors are not a really big team; they're more guard oriented, and they're going to be playing without Braden Smith. So you take Mr. Basketball out of the equation, and then CJ Gunn has a graduation tonight, so. You're missing a couple of your top guys, but still, I think it's just always fun, no matter who wins or whatever, just to see a lot of the top players in the state on the same floor together. But I know the seniors. I was out at practice yesterday, and they're definitely competitive. They know that this is a tough matchup with the juniors. It's that 2023 class is a good one, so they'll have a challenge ahead of them in that game. But I really like the senior class, kind of the makeup, the mentality. It's a lot of really, I think high character people on that team, and I think it'll be fun to see kind of how they mesh together. They just arrived on campus yesterday, so they're putting it together. Yesterday, today, they're going to have another practice today, and get ready for tonight. So it's always I always kind of look forward to this game as much as any of them, the junior-senior game, just to see those teams square off against each other.
Yeah, and especially if they have Xavier Booker, that will be fun. He continues to just skyrocket as he heads into his senior season. Had a great named MVP up at Pangos, which is why he wasn't playing in that game. So it probably would not have been a good situation for Kentucky had he been there, since they already lost. But Yeah, I would like to see. Yeah, it takes me back to, I don't know, it was a few years ago. The game was down in New Albany, and they had to bring in DeJuan Jones off the couch to play for the juniors. And what did he end up with? He ended up with like 20-something points or something. Those juniors, it's fun to watch that. But yeah, the senior all-stars, they're lined up pretty well. They have a pretty talented squad.
Yeah, they do. It's not like I said, it's more of a guard heavy team. And, a kid I saw yesterday, I thought, in the limited practice, that I watched, but a kid I was curious about was Javen Buchanan, who came from Lafayette Jeff. Kind of interesting story. He didn't play any varsity at Jeff until his senior year. He went to Kansas for, family situation, took him to Kansas for his junior year. He'd previously been at Jeff as a sophomore, but played junior varsity. So, he comes back to Jeff. I don't think many people really knew much about him at all. He was on Mike Broughton's radar, the Indian All-Star director, and, Broughton really liked him. He's about 6'6" or 7. And I think he's a guy that's going to go out tonight, and I think he'll be he may not star in the game, but I think he's going to end up being a key part of this team because he brings some size and versatility. This is really a year where, Tay Davis couldn't be there because of Seton Hall, getting him. He had to be there even before he graduated from high school. I think, it's been about, a week and a half ago, he was already on campus at Seton Hall. So they miss him a lot because he would have brought, that 6'7", 6'8" body, even though he's kind of a wing type player, he'll play inside. So you miss him. So I think Buchanan maybe kind of helps fill that role somewhat. And I tell you, Indiana Wesleyan, they're getting a really good player, a Division I player, in my opinion, in Buchanan, and credit him for. And he had some Division I interest even after he signed and was committed, but he decided to stick with them. So he's a guy. Just file that away. I think put his name on the radar for tonight and this weekend because I think he'll be a key part of what they do. But you also have, a lot of guys that I've covered for a long time, like Tayshawn Comer from Cathedral, and I think he'll be a key all week, as far as breaking presses and things like that. He's kind of a one-man press breaker. And then you have, guys like Pete Suter from Carmel and Ryan Conwell from Pike and guys that, you pretty much know what you're going to get, which is a really good effort. And, some shooting, obviously, with Conwell, who's going to South Florida. He can really fill it up from three. Jalen Jackson from Fort Wayne, Northrop, used to be at Carroll. He's another really, hard-nosed, not necessarily known as a shooter, but, man, he's strong physical presence at the guard spot. And, and there's obviously a lot of other guys who will be a part of this, team. I think they'll have 10 guys tonight, and then they'll add Gunn back for the weekend. So you got a pretty good group. Sometimes you limit the roster a little bit. That may help you in some aspect. And, I know last year there was, I think every year, probably a couple of guys who are a little bit disappointed with their playing time and whatnot. But, if you go into the weekend tonight with 10 and then the weekend with 11, you should be in pretty good shape that in that direction.
CJ Gunn is one I'd like to talk about. Man, we've talked about him a lot. Just a prolific shooter, just gunslinger attitude type of guy. When the pressure's on, he seems to step up. He's lived in that environment. So I mean, it's like he thrives in that environment, which as a coach, you're going to love to see. You're like, okay, because that's a guy who is going to be able to make decisions in high pressure times. More importantly, the big question for me is, and you don't have this answer, but I'm just, do you think that he's a prolific shooter, at least was in high school. If that can transfer to college, that's the missing link that Indiana does not have right now, is that guy that can just hit a shot when they need to from outside. And I'm not asking this to put that kind of pressure on a guy coming in as a freshman, but he just seems like to me, he could be that guy, and he's not getting a lot of talk because he's not one of the 2 5-stars that are coming in. But
I think he could just be a hidden gem.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he's got, if you look at the measurables and things like that, compare him to, like a Braden Smith, who obviously different role, different team, different everything. Braden, the questions about him are more about, does he have the size? Does he have the, can he play the point guard in the Big Ten at what his size is and how he's probably barely 6 foot. You look at CJ Gunn, you're like, okay, here's 6'5", at least 6'6", maybe long, can shoot it. So and I'm just contrasting those two because I'm thinking of it, but Gunn is just different that way because he's got all the physical tools there, and he's shown. I mean, like you said, he in a lot of situations he's not afraid of anything. He's not afraid of taking big shots. He's not afraid to be the guy in a clutch situation for sure. I mean, he seems to really like that situation. So can he come fill a role as a I don't want to say he's just a shooter because he's better than that. I think he's a potentially a really good defender. If it just depends a lot physically too. Can you go from senior or high school, get in that weight room in the summer, and then turn it around relatively quickly? And he, like you said, he's got some 5-stars he's going to be playing against. I think that'll only help him. And obviously they got a team full of, guys who are already college experience. So I always think it's unfair to put, too much expectations on a freshman who's coming in, who's got a lot to learn and things like that. And a fairly veteran team that's going to be really talented. But can he fill a role? I definitely, you look at all the measurables and all the things he's done so far. I would be skeptical of anybody who thinks he can't do that. So the only thing with that is, like I said, he's got a veteran team he's coming into, a lot of guys who have been part of it, but you talk about shooting and he can do that. And he's very, I will say, I've covered him for a long time. He's very streaky. He can come down and, he'll just, I remember the sectional game, even just this past year, he had just an amazing first half. He couldn't miss. I mean, it was one of the best performances of the season against Warren Central, really good team. I had mentioned Tay Davis earlier, and they were just, and Warren Central was staying step for step with him. It was a really good first half. And then Lawrence North and Gunn, they kind of pulled away at the end. But I think he had 39 ended up with in that game, and just incredible. It was one of those games where, there's been many of these over the years I've covered, but the crowd is just kind of like, you can kind of feel the buzz and the energy of knowing you're watching something special. He did that definitely that night at North Central. So, he can be very streaky that way, which, on the opposite side of that, obviously you want to be a little bit more consistent, but man, when he gets hot, man, he can get about as hot as anybody.
Yeah. And Indiana hasn't had a guy like that for a while. And if you can get a handle on it, which I'm sure he will once he gets to college and starts playing around. So that's the thing. He's going to be playing around the best talent he's ever played around every day. And that's before he plays a game. So that'll make you better. It's survive or thrive and survive is all you can do in that situation. But yeah, he's got guys that are ahead of him. You talk about the weight. It matters, people. It matters. It's not so much as weight. It's just strength. These guys are so much stronger because they've been in a system for 2 years, some of them 3 years. Man, there's a gigantic difference. They've been getting fed the right stuff, eating the right stuff. This is not in the old days. Back when I was in school, do you know where training table was? Steak and Shake.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. Their training table was Steak and Shake. They can go there and do whatever they want, get whatever they want. That was training table. That is far from the case today.
Right.
It's like,
it's and if you look at CJ, you'll know. I mean, he's very thin. Obviously, he's gotten stronger, but clearly, he's not a college. He hasn't been in a college weight room, and with like the nutrition people, and like you said, it's not a, it's a big difference. He hasn't. So that will be the key, I think, for him is how far can he make it, physically going into. His freshman year. But like I said, the frame is there, the ability is there, everything I think is there for him. It's just And he has also, he's played on you remember his sophomore and then his junior year, he played on teams, and I'm not comparing them to a college team, but LN, he wasn't necessarily the man. So he's been on teams where he's kind of filled he's been maybe sometimes the secondary role, or as a sophomore, probably the third guy, third or fourth even. So he's been in situations like that where he's been around, because they had Tony Perkins his sophomore year, he's playing at Iowa now, and he was the number one, and then CJ ended up getting hurt that year, but you also had Shamar Avance, who's at Miami of Ohio, DJ Hughes is at Butler, so you had a lot of good talented players around him. So he's been in, comparing him from high school to college, obviously is different, but he's sort of been in those situations before too, where a lot of these guys come in from high school and you've been the man for maybe 3 or 4 years. He was definitely the man last year, but he's also played in some different environments that way too.
Absolutely. What is up next for you, man?
Well, tonight's the junior senior game. So if anybody's around Mount Vernon or the Indianapolis area, that'd be, the girls start at 6, the boys, roughly 8 probably, or a little before that. So you can get out there and watch that tonight. I know the All-Stars will be signing autographs at halftime of the others game, like the boys during the girls halftime and vice versa. So, I know some people who try to get autographs every year. And so if you want to do that, but yeah, and then I'll be heading down to Kentucky Friday to Owensboro. And then the games are here, Southport High School on Saturday. So it'll be a full weekend of basketball. And then, back into, I'll be covering state golf next week and going from there. I'm already starting some football stuff too. I'll have something for football rolling out tomorrow morning already. So trying to get a head start on some of our football coverage for the upcoming season.
It never ends, does it?
It sure does.
Never ends. All right, brother. Kyle Neddenriep from the Indy Star. Keep local newspapers alive. Appreciate you, brother.
You bet. Thanks, Jim.
You bet. Kyle Neddenriep joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Brought to you by our good friends at BB's Market, a part of the WOW Club. You can go there and sign up. I have put that link up on the comments. You can find it there. It's under mywownetwork.com, and then you'll find the WOW Club, mywownetwork.com. But, yeah, go there, sign up. It's a free app. Doesn't cost you anything. And then you'll end up ordering some stuff from BB's Market, I'm telling you, and they'll ship it to you. They've got like 35 different sausages. Wait till I start doing some shows there. You'll be able to smell it. And we're going to start doing some giveaways, I think, for some summer grilling. How about that? I finally figured out a way to alleviate, how well, we're way over, aren't we? I got to take a quick break, but in today's world, everybody can just Google an answer. Well, from now on, I'm going to start asking a trivia question the day after from a show the day before. So it's not quite as easy, but we've got lots more coming up. We've still got Rick Bozich to talk to here on Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Back with that and plenty more. Brought to you by our good friends at Andy Moore Honda, as well as BB's Market. Back after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington or a Cutter, you need the
Yes, sir.
Do you have a Reds report?
I do.
All right. They won big last night, I saw.
Yeah, a lot of runs on the board.
A lot of runs on the board. I've seen them do that a couple times this year. Funny. It's funny. Dum diddy dum diddy dum dum dum. Oh yeah. I'm gonna talk about that with Rick. As well as da, 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 da. What else happened last night in Major League Baseball?
Well, it's interesting because every other team in the NL Central lost, so the Reds got a leg up on everybody. Not sure about a leg up, but they got a game back,
The Reds got a game back.
Take what they can get, right?
Yep.
All right. 30 seconds.
HRVs and pilots. See dealer for financing deals. Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com. Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by RE/MAX Advanced Realty, Indie Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back. Hump Day. Hope everybody's having a good one. Bob Kravitz and Cal Neddenriep have already stopped by and made their appearances. Rick Bozich comes up in the next segment. College baseball continues to roll. Michigan loses to Louisville, and they're out, of course. Man, Louisville, just a good baseball program. Been that way for a minute. Let's see. I'm looking for anything that jumping out. Not really. Looking forward to Rick, though, as always. Do you guys know Rick Bozich is an IU graduate? He's a Hall of Fame sports writer. He was with the Courier-Journal in Louisville for like 17 years as the guy there before they made the moronic decision to downsize. Or maybe he left before that they did. You remember probably 10 years ago when TV stations started making that move and bringing in sports writers, and then most of it went back away. WDRB down in Louisville is one of the only ones that's really stuck with it. They took the two sports writers from the Courier in Louisville and still have them. But Rick is someone that can cover any and everything. He covers IU. Anyway, he went there, but he's from there, from Indiana. He's from up Maryville. He went to the same high school as Greg Popovich. Did you know that? And I think others. But so there is that. Mark Cuban's. I'm looking forward to talking to him about Campus Inc. as well. That's Mark Cuban is a part owner. Where's my page with that information? But that's nationwide, man. And I'm wondering if that's similar to the NIL situation former IU player Butch Carter has going. Probably going to have him on at some point talking about that. But, oh yeah, that was under this. But Mark Cuban does not have a lot going on with Indiana, but now he's got this company he's a part of. But how many companies is he not a part of? My God, I mean, he's on Shark Tank.
alone. But so now you've got all these agreements out there. You've got all of these people coming at everybody. Campus Inc. is an apparel company that works in official licensed college gear. And I've been waiting. I was like, oh my God, why is someone not doing this already? I said this a month ago, but now that's why I'm not rich and living on a beach somewhere. But I'm like, I would have done this, had this up and running and going. And I wouldn't have had that smirk that Cuban's got on this photo. But if I kept kicking everybody in the nethers, I guess I'd have that smirk too. But it created an NIL store, so there would be a central online hub for athletes to be able to partner with designers to make an apparel and be able to use their license marks. The Department, Illinois, and several other schools have already come to agreements with Campus Inc. Before Indiana became interested. Centralized location. Genius. It's like Fanatics. But I think that they would be ill-advised to do only one or make an agreement with one. That's you look at now all the different providers, whether it's Fanatics or whomever that you get these commercials from. Well, you can buy merchandise from all of those. But I guess because it's so new, there is no centralized location, which, boy, it's a great idea. I wish I'd have thought of it first. Oh, yeah, I did. I couldn't get it implemented. But it also lends the fans a place to go that's maybe a fan of somebody at USC. Easy, it makes it a lot easier for them to find them. Or maybe you're not even a fan of them. You just see something you like. It's going to be a great deal for Campus Inc. I don't know how big it will truly be for the athletes, for the truly superstars. Yeah, it'll probably ding the cash register, but others, I don't know. We'll find out. Hey, we got to take a quick break. Luckily, coming up next, Hall of Famer Rick Bozich from WDRB.com joins us. And we're back with plenty more, brought to you by our good friends at Remax Realty. If you're in the market for a home in the Indianapolis area, you need Cheryl Sizemore and her 2 decades of experience. Reach out to her, Cheryl at IndyHomePros.com. Back with Rick Bozich right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Whether you're visiting Bloomington or a Cutter, you need the Wow Club app. Hello, Rick.
Hi, Jim. How are you?
Good, sir. Plain black red hat today?
Yeah.
Man, look at you. You're the greatest. The greatest neutrality. It's hard to even find a blank hat.
What do you got on? San Diego? I can't see it.
No, this is Bandon Dunes. Golf course out in the Portland area.
Oh, you've been out there?
I have not, ironically. But I was very near it when we were out in Portland for the NCAA tournament. Considered going out there. Should have probably gone out there to do something to get away from that city while I was out there for 5 days.
Not a good city.
But I was so shocked and disgusted when from the airport all the way to downtown, it was either tents or trash. I couldn't believe it. And then downtown, it's tents all over the place.
Really? People living downtown on the street?
Oh, yeah. I was shocked. It was amazing.
Didn't you just go to Florida?
I was there as well. Yes, sir.
How's that? What did you do down there? Golf?
I did not get to golf. I did
as little as possible, to be honest with you. I did lose a pair of sunglasses, helping clean the boat. My nice Ray-Bans. Get that haul extra good, leaned over and bloop. Didn't have my strap yet.
Floated away.
Well, they didn't float away. If they'd have floated away, I'd have dove in and got them. But they fell, and then I saw them, and I thought I saw them stop. And I yelled to my friend, "Hey, Charlie, how deep is this right here?" Because I was just going to let him sit there. And he goes, "About 18 feet." And I'm like, "Oh, I guess they're gone." But I still should have jumped in. They were $200 glasses. But they had all these barnacles all over this. I was at the end of the pier where we just docked the boat. And he had showed me already where he had some scars on his hands from those daggone barnacles. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I want to jump in there. So I said, oh, heck with it. Well, get a diver go down there. He said, I'll get a diver go down there for $50. He'll find it. I'm like, all right, cool. Have not heard if that's been successful yet or not. But they were supposed to get a hurricane to come in, and it was supposed to hit right there, and I don't think it did. But I'm like, wow. I said, there won't be there by then.
30 seconds.
What's new with you, and what have you been up to?
Oh, Louisville baseball for the most part.
Yeah.
They're headed. I'm going out to practice here in a little while. They're headed down to College Station today.
You can also find full episodes of Indiana Sports Beat Radio on the homepage or on the station every week, Monday through Friday. If we're not on a station where you live, we should be. Ask for Indiana Sports Beat Radio. This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat Radio, coming to you here on this Wednesday. We've made it to the halfway point, and no better way to get us over the hump than with Rick Bozich from WDRB.com. Rick, how are you, sir?
Doing good, Jim. How are you doing? I'm getting ready for a little Louisville baseball practice here. They're going from 10 to 11:30. I'm going to get out there for the last half hour, and they're heading to College Station, Texas, to play the Aggies in the Super Regional.
Yeah, college baseball is rolling on. It's getting to be that fun part. It's a great setup, actually. You get the College World Series, the Super Regionals, and then the College World Series. And then that kind of feeds it right into the Little League World Series. But there's a little bit of a break, I guess. That doesn't come until later in July, does it?
Yeah, it might even be early August on the college.
Yeah.
On the Little League World Series. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I was actually over at New Albany Little League Field last week, and I think they're just getting ready to pick the All-Star team. So it's probably just getting ready to crank up.
Well, grandsons? Grandkids?
Yeah, my grandson plays in the 6-year-old machine pitch, coach pitch league.
Oh, 6-year-olds. That's got to be hilarious.
Yeah, you got one guy batting, one guy watching, and 8 kids drawing things in the dirt or picking clover.
It is.
I won't say which one of those my grandson fell into.
That is probably the greatest time in sports. Is that? I mean, it really is. It's when they don't have a clue and sometimes don't have a care. They don't care.
They just want to know what they're going to get.
Exactly. When do I get my soda pop and popcorn, man? Absolutely. But college baseball rolling on. Indiana, of course, nowhere to be seen. The Big Ten, Michigan losing to Louisville in a tight one to allow Louisville to move forward.
Yeah, that was a tough loss for Michigan. They actually beat Louisville the first game and were in the winner's bracket. And then Louisville came back and beat Oregon and then beat Michigan twice. In the last game, Michigan jumped ahead, and then they fell behind 7-2 and took the lead, and then weren't able to. Louisville got 4 runs in the bottom of the 8th to win the game. So they go on to Texas A&M. I think the Big Ten I think they had 3 teams in, and they all got beat, I'm pretty sure. Maryland got beat on that controversial call at first base by UConn. And I don't know who was the third Big Ten team in. There was another Big Ten team in there.
Michigan. Is it Michigan?
Michigan, Maryland, and who was the other one? Maybe Iowa? I don't know.
I think maybe. I can't remember who the third team was. I didn't know
But
there was a third.
this is a sport that's dominated by the SEC and the ACC.
Oh,
And 9 of the 16 teams left are from those two leagues. Throw in Texas and Oklahoma, which are going into the SEC, and that makes it 11 of the 16. So it's
and
a tough.
the thing is, that's because it's warm weather. It's a warm weather. It's a warm weather belt, and that is never ever going to change.
Right.
So how can it? Why would the teams in the upper Midwest? What's the point of even the Big Ten? They don't have success at this stage. I'm not going to say why have it, but doesn't seem to be a great point at the end of the season, because history is going to show you're just not going anywhere.
Yeah, and that's the thing that Louisville baseball's taken big advantage of, even though they're not really that far north, in just 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes south of Bloomington. They do play in warmer weather cities, going to Miami, Florida State, Georgia Tech, Clemson, those places. And they've made a living really in recruiting kids from the Chicago area, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, and saying, you can play fairly close to home and still play in a warm weather league, and it's really worked for them.
Yeah, and they're probably the furthest north, the most successful team that is furthest north.
Consistently, they are. I think there's 2 teams this year that are left that might be further north. Connecticut made it, which is remarkable. And I think there might be one other one, but I have to look.
Yeah, how's that outlier happen?
I don't know. It's crazy.
I mean, you talk that zero history in this sport, and this is a sport that is just filled with teams that just do it all the time. I don't care if it's Vanderbilt, whomever. It's always those teams. And
Notre Dame is the other team that's in there, and in fact, they play the best team in the country, Tennessee. So we'll see. Their season will probably end this weekend in Knoxville.
Always fun to look at. Mark Cuban and Campus Inc. making a big splash with colleges around the country. IU just signed up with those guys. NIL continues to evolve, and I said earlier, I don't know if it was on air or not, but because currently this seems to be a system that cannot sustain itself. It can't get into an arms race. It will eventually collapse, I would think. So all these different consortiums and these guys looking in different direction. Is it going to be too much for the players, too distracting? I mean, think about all the stuff that they're doing now on top of what they have going on with school and their sports, and they're trying to make a dime.
Yeah, I mean, I think this helps because it provides more structure. And if I read some of this right, this is sort of in part a one-stop shopping thing where each player is going to have his own, quote, locker. And if you're a popular player who has fans and you want to sell your jersey or you want to sell a T-shirt with your name on the back of it, you just send out your info on social media and people will see it and they can buy your jersey or whatever. Is that part of what this deal is?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think what schools are going to have to do, to me, the biggest news in college sports yesterday was Duke hired sort of a general manager or a player personnel director, whatever it is, from Nike. And her whole focus had been working with EYBL and Nike stuff. And I think it's going to be her job to navigate this stuff for players. And I think each school is going to have at least, if not a full-time person, but at least somebody on their staff who spends some of their time helping players maximize their social media, maximizing their merchandise. I mean, I know it sounds bizarre, but when you see the most popular and most powerful brand in college basketball, which is Duke, making the decision that this is important, you need to pay attention.
Well, absolutely. Indiana is one of those schools that we've seen try to be out on the forefront with marketing and branding and helping the players and with the Cuban Center and the video and with all of that. But yeah, yesterday, Duke hired former Nike NBA staffer to help the players with the NIL specifically. That's their job. You got people that are being hired to recruit the portal and people that are being hired to guide NIL now. It's just it's an entire wing. It's like a business that had three wings. They've added an entire new wing to their business. Athletics have. This is an entire extension. It's its own department of all the things that go with this that end up being bigger than everything else that there is. But Duke hired former, what was her name? She'd been with the NBA for a long time. I'm trying to get to it as quick as possible. Spent 1 year also with Nike on the EYBL circuit. So she's been out there working with the kids, knows what that's all about. So 8 years at Nike working with grassroots partnerships and event strategy. So man, she's already in depth and ingrained with that level. And Duke was smart enough to get on it first. And that's how you stay ahead of the curve.
Yeah, it is. I mean, no matter whatever an individual school or coach's personal views are on NIL and how important it should be, how much of a priority it should be for players when they pick a school. The reality is that there are going to be people that you're competing against that are going to make it a big priority. And we've already seen some of the dust-ups this year of, you got Nick Saban, the most successful coach in college football, complaining that he didn't get the best recruiting class in the country because Texas A&M was doing a better job on NIL, and they did get the best class in the country. If you're not going to be offering or connecting people to the right packages, there's going to be a certain percentage of players that you're not going to be able to recruit. And that's reality.
How funny but how absolutely hysterical is it that somebody whose program we all know is not exactly being run by Mother Teresa, and Jimbo Fisher, boom, come out of a hole like a snake and said, boom. And I said this the other day, I've never seen anybody shut up faster than you saw Nick Saban shut up. As soon as he said, hey, you want to know where the bodies are buried? I was there. I helped bury, or I saw them buried. And he did. And why do you think he shut up? Because that's exactly true. How he was dumb enough to, and I hate to say dumb, but how he was dumb enough to put himself in that position knowing it's like he is oblivious. He is so accustomed to doing what they've been doing. Is he that oblivious to it that the rest of the world does not get to live like that?
I think that showed his frustration level, that he was so frustrated that he couldn't control himself. I think it really wasn't a press conference. It was sort of a gathering with whether it was boosters or fans or whatever. And he might have briefly forgotten that there was media there that was going to record what he was saying. And the frustration came out, and, he obviously he regretted it because he's apologized and quit talking about it. And Jimbo Fisher has refused to take his apology. So, you're right. It's Alabama has every other advantage known to man. And just this year alone, we know, Indiana had one of the best strength and conditioning people in the country. And I think that was part of the reason that the program, those 2 good years that Tom Allen had, Indiana looked faster and better conditioned to me. And they came in and took away David Ballou and Dr. Ray. We saw this year at the end of spring practice, Alabama lost a receiver, decided they need another receiver. They got Louisville's best receiver went through spring practice. Somehow the word got to him that Alabama was looking for a receiver, and he's gone to Alabama where there's no guarantee he's even going to play. So it's better off to be a backup receiver at Alabama than starting receiver at Louisville. So I have no sympathy for Nick Saban. He Bigfoots everybody at every opportunity.
Absolutely. I found it completely ironic. And I said yesterday, I think it was, that I'm shocked that there's the code, but I'm shocked that more coaches haven't come out already, because they know who's doing what.
Sure they do.
And so they've kept their mouth shut as a courtesy, but I'm like, why?
Well, I think SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey got the word out that, like, the next guy that talks about this is going to get fined.
Yeah.
Y'all need to shut up.
All-Star week up this week, man. Kentucky and Indiana this Friday and Saturday. We've had the juniors play each other last Sunday. And then the juniors play the seniors tonight as well. Have you kept up with that at all?
A little bit. I've been asking around just about whether this series can ever get back on a more uplifting track. I mean, we're both veterans and remember when it used to be a really, really big deal.
Yeah.
It used to be played one Saturday night in Louisville and the next Saturday night in Indy. There was actually real practice and preparation. It was a basketball game, not just an all-star game. It meant a lot. It sold out, whether in the old days. I mean, I'm going back to Hinkle Fieldhouse, then Market Square Arena, and then I don't know if it ever did sell out Bankers Life, but now aren't they playing at Southport High School?
Yep.
In Owensboro, some place in Owensboro, because they can't play in any facility in Louisville because of A, they don't sell it out anymore, and B, NCAA regulations have changed, so you can't play in any U of L facility or even Bellarmine's facility since they've gone D1. But I don't know. It used to be. I'm showing my age, but I remember when being Mr. Basketball and making the All-Star team was a really big deal, and it doesn't seem to have that. It doesn't have that sizzle anymore. That's something I think we've lost.
Yeah, AAU. There's just a lot of things that have added into it. There's not one thing, but yeah, it was a big deal, man. Well, there's a lot of other places to go. A lot of other
right.
They're being pulled in so many different directions. There are guys that let's see, who is it that's not even getting to play in it because one of the guys on Indiana's side, he's got to go report to Seton Hall. And I'm like, seriously? They can't.
Hey,
yeah, I'm like, really? A week is going to make that much difference? I'm like, crap, that's horse crap. I don't believe that. I truly don't believe that that at the end of the season, your season's going to be impacted because you spent an extra week in June going to an all-star game. I just can't believe that.
That's happened before. I mean, we've seen it happen before where coaches, they get the freshmen in and put them through orientation, whether they're going to summer school or whatever else, and they won't let their guys go play in this game, even practice for 3 days and play in 2 games. It is ridiculous. I mean, why does a guy have to be already in campus the entire week, the first full week in June? It's ridiculous. I talked to Scott Davenport of Bellarmine on Monday, and he's letting his guy, Pete Suter of Carmel, he was here for 2 days to practice, and he's letting him go back to Indy and play with the All-Stars because he grew up as a high school coach in this area, and he understands the importance of that game and what it should mean to a kid for making the Indiana All-Star team. But some of these other coaches, they don't get it. They're not going to get it. So that would be, I guess, Shaheen Holloway, told Tay Davis, that's the kid who was going to go to Louisville and then decommitted and went to Seton Hall, that it's more important to get out to New Jersey than it is to play in that game. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is. And that's because, I agree with it. It's because he's not from here, but also Scotty Davenport's just a guy with common sense. He's just a down-to-earth boy. They still screwed those teams over on that Division I jump up. The NCAA. Bellarmine just completed their second season as a Division I team, but could have qualified for the NCAA tournament probably both seasons this year for certain, but last season probably as well. But still have to wait 2 more seasons, which is the another utterly ridiculous thing.
Yeah, and Scotty recruits Indiana high schools hard. He's got a kid. There's a big kid that was at North Harrison a couple of years ago, a 6'11" kid, I think, who went to William and Mary, and now he's transferred back. He's going to play for Bellarmine next year. He's got Justin Betts from Providence High School coming back for another year. He had a kid this year from Vincennes. I mean, he gets the culture of Indiana high school basketball, and he says he likes to. He told me the other day he likes to recruit Indiana high school kids because they play in big gyms in front of big crowds all the time, and the moment never overwhelms them. They're used to the attention, and so I think he understands that if you're good enough to make the Indiana All-Stars, you should be able to enjoy the reward of playing in that game.
Earlier this week, we talked about the LIV golf, and Dustin Johnson had been going over there. Pete, my friend Pete, just said that ESPN just reported that Bryson DeChambeau, which I'm not surprised at all about him. I would think he would be glad as hell to go play on anybody else's tour to get away from all the smack he does here. And he's probably getting 150 million or 200 million just to do it, along with Patrick Reed, which is ironic. I look at it's Patrick Reed. So they're two lightning rods right there. That's probably an easy decision for those guys.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, DeChambeau's been involved in different dust-ups here or there, so it might be a way for him to go and have a less stressful life and with guaranteed money coming in. And Patrick Reed seems to be a guy who isn't very well liked by other members of the tour, but
because he cheated?
Yeah, that's what they say. It's becoming a sexier list of guys for sure who are doing this. I mean, you already got Mickelson and
Dustin Johnson. That was big for him because he doesn't carry any baggage. He's a big name. Mickelson's got baggage. So you've got 3 out of these 4 names we're talking about are what I would call baggage guys.
Yeah, is the first tournament this weekend?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
If it is, they're going to be happy guys because they stand a better chance to win.
I don't follow golf as closely as a lot of people, but I think one of the ancillary stories to go with this, though, is like this might possibly affect the eligibility of some of these guys to play in the Ryder Cup, I guess, because they're not on the PGA Tour, or I don't know. It seems to be this reminds me of, some of the things we've seen in the past in, with football, where they start up these other leagues, but they've actually got some dudes going to this league that people might want to watch play. And I guess it depends on how dramatic some of the early tournaments are to see whether people, the viewers will decide what kind of numbers they can get watching these guys on TV.
Oh, well, they're going to watch the first one, and it does begin tomorrow, as you suspected, at Centurion Club outside of London. Also in that field are Kevin Na and Dustin Johnson, who were among several golfers announced over the past week they were resigning their PGA Tour membership. I'm surprised that in the United States that the PGA will get away with that.
Of not letting play in the Ryder Cup?
Of not letting them play.
The rules enough to say whether that is in fact the case. I've just seen some guys talk about it, saying that they hope they'd still be able to play, so it must be some level of uncertainty about it. But, Mickelson has that book out about him now, which is on the New York Times bestseller list, an unauthorized biography where the gambling stuff is discussed. He did do an interview with Bob Herrig of Sports Illustrated and confirmed some of the gambling losses. And he sort of built up the storyline by not playing for so long that people are going to tune in to watch him play in this tournament just to see how he performs. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, the money is crazy. We're talking, I think Mickelson was paid $200 million to just join their league. And that's not playing in a single tournament. What you call a signing bonus. That's a serious signing bonus, man.
And he's got us. They're getting some of their money's worth right now because we're talking about it. If he hadn't done it, then we'd probably not be talking about it.
Look how much money Tiger Woods turned down. Probably I have to guesstimate, but guesstimating it to be $750 million.
Right, $750 million. Yeah, I would think so. If they
to go. How do you? I mean, if it was just for a year or what? Yeah, there's no way. There's no way you don't do it. But But you also have to admire his resolve to say, no, I'm sticking with the PGA. I mean, he's not being bought, so you can say a lot of things about him, but how many people in this world could and would turn down $750 million just to sign up for something? Not many of us.
Not very many.
And I'm probably not one of them. I'll be honest with you. What's up next for you, man?
Like I said, I'm getting ready to go out to Louisville baseball practice here in a little while. They'll play this weekend in Texas A&M. We're not going to College Station. If they go to Omaha, I'm sure we'll go to that. Mainly be a TV weekend for me, so I'll be watching Louisville baseball. And then Saturday afternoon is the Belmont Stakes, it's a weird conclusion to the Triple Crown this year because I think you're going to have most likely three different winners unless Rich Strike wins the Belmont. And I think I read that there's not one horse that even running in all three races this year.
Wow. That's crazy. And Rich Strike does not seem like a Belmont horse to me, but I have not followed it enough. Much longer race, 1.5 miles versus the Derby is a mile and a quarter. And trust me, that's a big difference because it seems like it takes forever to finish that race out. But I'm just disappointed. Why don't they just? I know it's historical dates, but with all the talk about running this many races, why the hell are they running so close back to back to back?
Because they always have, and I think there's a strong vocal amount of traditionalists in horse racing who say if you change it, then anybody that wins the Triple Crown from this date forward won't be considered as worthy as the ones, the 9 or the 11 or 10 or 11, however many it is that have won in the past. And because we've had 2 Triple Crown winners since 2015, I think that
I agree.
That killed I think it was headed towards a possible change until then, but then American Pharoah and Justify won Triple Crowns in 15 and 18, and the entire momentum was lost. To me, the biggest storyline about the Belmont this weekend is that for the first time that I can remember is that the Belmont's not on NBC. It's on Fox. So wow. NBC has the first 2 legs of the Triple Crown, but Fox, which tried to get the Derby contract several years ago and didn't get it, but Fox does have the Belmont contract, and I don't remember them ever covering horse racing, so I'll be very curious to see how they cover it.
Yeah. Well, buddy, I appreciate you so much. Enjoy yourself. I hope you get to have some peanuts and Cracker Jack and a great weekend.
All right. Thank you, Jim. Always good talking to you.
You too. The great Rick Bozich from WDRB.com. Make sure you give him a follow because you'll be completely wrapped up in anything you want to cover. We got lots more coming up here on Indiana Sports Beat, brought to you by good friends at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, down right off of I-65. You're down that way. Pizza, burgers, beer. Back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
The sun is out, the birds are chirping, and the fairways are... Oh, man. I didn't know his cheating went back that far.
Talking about Patrick Reed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just talking about the event that he was supposedly caught cheating at.
Yeah, he's got a pretty big track record, if I remember correctly.
Oh, my God. I didn't know that.
Yep. He is definitely not the fan favorite.
Nope. That would be hard. Oh, yeah. Let's see. Hey, if you're on YouTube, become a Hole sponsor for Jordan Hole's event. It's only $100. I know more of you can do it. Forrest has done it. Forrest Gray's been great. A listener has done it. Sam Joaquim has sponsored a Hole. Jennifer's bringing a team. You can go to thehoosier.com and it's free to go to thehoosier.com. But on top of all of the chat boards is a link where you can go to, and there is a donations link. And just if you do that, just donate $100 and send me a message that you did it, and I'll make sure that it gets noticed as a whole sponsorship. But I know that there's more than 2 of you out there that can do that. This all benefits the Never Lose Hoop 100%, and sure like to see if we can get something done from you guys. So jump on the bandwagon, and while you're doing it, make sure you hit subscribe and the like buttons as well. Let's see. There you go. Courtroom Sports Grill. Oh, you're trying to get the
Yep.
Anything else I forget? And give me a follow at Twitter at Jim Coyle ISB.
HRVs and pilots. See dealer for financing deals. Andy Moore Honda, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Get more to your door with AndyMooreHonda.com.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Courtroom Sports Grill in Bedford. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Endeavor Hospitality Group and Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, how's your day going? Hope it's going well. We're almost through the midway point. Just finished up with the great Rick Bozich. Bob Kravitz has been on, as well as Cal Neddenriep. Lots of discussions on here in regards to, we were talking about the LIV golf and Tiger Woods turning down probably $750 million. Pete called it loyalty. Said he makes more than that in endorsements. Well, yeah, but he's not going to lose the endorsements. But yeah, Reed and DeChambeau. I mean, why wouldn't you? That's heaven for them. They'll be loved because those people don't pay attention. And Patrick Reed maybe said, "Hey, I can go over here and cheat and get away with it." Now, if that were to happen, that would, I don't even know what he would just, yeah. Let's see. I also some other. Oh, there was a discussion about someone. Tony says he used to feel class basketball was a wrong choice for the IHSA. He's reversed view over the last 15 years. It gives opportunities for players, teams, and communities to rally around a school. Yeah, it does. It's just different. It's just different. There's no doubt. I did not expect a 1A team to truly ever be able to compete with any Indiana 4A team of today. So there's no way you couldn't have some differentiation. I mean, is there a 1A team that could compete with Cathedral, with Carmel? I could just go down the line. It's tough. So, just life, man. It changes. It's just like, it's no different than NIL, transfer portal. You can not like it all you want, but guess what? It's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. It's not changing. So, oh well, that's how it is. I'm trying to get to a point in life to where I'm like, you know what? Like, but that's just how it is. So to embrace it and deal with it. And like with NIL, some people think it's ruining the game. Like Bob said yesterday, it's not going to. No, it may screw some things up and cause some wonky issues here and there. But at the end of the day, no, it's not. I don't think that. So you're going to see the same teams be good. You think Duke's not going to be good? You think Kansas is not going to be good? Indiana's about to be good. You think Kentucky's not going to be good? So really, how is it going to ruin college basketball? It's making your team, if you're listening to this show, it's making your team better. And that's just a fact. So it's two-edged sword for a lot of people. It is what it is. Let's see, the All-Star game's coming up this weekend, as we've talked about. Mark Cuban, Campus Inc. And we talked yesterday about the umpire guiding the player out of the batter's box. I've seen that several times. He didn't shove him. He just has a hand in the small of his back, kind of saying, dude. And now the funny thing would have been he's probably talking to him, so he knew who it was. But I'm wondering if what would have been the case if he would have thought that was the catcher. That may not have ended so well. So donation in. Look at Pete Clausen. Was that for a whole sponsorship? You guys make sure you tell me when you do that, because I got to make sure I'm going to give everybody extra credit. Forrest Gray and Sam Joaquim, they've already sponsored a whole. Jennifer Land's got an entire team put together. Ryan Kramer and Sherry Biggs are coming. They're coming down from Northern Indiana to play. Jennifer coming up from Evansville to play. Forrest from Georgia. Pete up in Minneapolis, Sam down in Florida. Got guys everywhere that are helping out. So I want to try to get as many of you guys to help out with anything. Pete's now a whole sponsor. We'll get and see if you're a whole sponsor. You can just do the donation, $100 donation, but make sure it says whole sponsor or whatever. But send a message to me so I know, or somehow let me know so I can put you on a list to get you. And we're going to get a picture with Jordan Hulls or whatever around the picture, and I'm gonna try to get it sent to you, posted, or posted out at least, and then you can get a copy of that. But yeah, there's all you guys. I just want to get it. It would be great if we get half of everybody. Whoever can do $100. This is all goes to Never Lose Hoop, and which benefits area kids with cancer. So if you could do that, it would be awesome. Just like today's show was awesome because we had Bob Kravitz, Kyle Neddenriep, and Rick Bozich on, which is always fun. Before I forget, tomorrow, what do we have lined up tomorrow, little Joe, the producer? I know we usually have, I start calling him Matty Ice Light.
We should have Matt Taylor and Chris Denari tomorrow.
And we'll add to that as well. Matt Taylor, of course, the voice of the Colts. Chris Denari, the voice of the Pacers. The NBA Finals still going on. They really slow the finals down. I was checking because I had been not paying attention to the finals for a couple of days, thinking, oh, man, they must have evened the series by now. They hadn't even played the second game, and this was like 3 days. I'm like, man, they're stretching this out. So now it is up to a game apiece. So there's that. But look forward to see how that series ends up with the Celtics and the Warriors. But yeah, big thanks to Pete Clausen for he's now a whole sponsor for the Jordan Hulls, as is Forrest and Sam. Appreciate you guys. So if we can get more of you guys, wherever you are, be a whole sponsor. And we'll take a picture with Jordan and whoever else that we can get in that picture around your sign and make sure we get it to you. And trust me, you'll be getting all the shout outs you can stand from here. So it's always appreciated.
Yes, sir. You trying to tell me it's time to go? Yeah, it's about that time. Too bad we don't have a bad one of the sad songs to play us out, but
maybe next
Force,
time.
appreciate Force says the show's awesome daily. He appreciate that. I won't read the second part because Thursday's not his favorite. Well, it's not about the sports, brother. It's about the personality, Forrest. It's about the fun and engaging conversation that you would miss, right? Let's see. No, let's see. Tim says not sports related, but the landmark in Jeffersonville where the big clock is, the Colgate plant, looks to be getting demolished. Well, they're not going to demolish that clock, surely. That's a piece of trivia there. That used to be the state prison for Indiana back in the turn of the century. Maybe we'll talk about that Friday with Mitchell. We're going to get into some fun stuff on Friday with Mitchell when he comes back, Mitchell Page. So hit me back on that, Tim. I'll give that piece to him to research for next time for him. There you go, Ross. It's all about relationships. It's all about relationships, baby. And I couldn't have asked for a better one with you guys. Thank you all so much. Thanks to Bob Kravitz, Kyle Neddenriep, and Rick Bozich as well. Thanks to Joe, the producer. But most importantly, like I said, thanks to you all. Without you, there's no reason for us to be here. And we look forward to it each and every day. And look forward to being back tomorrow to do it again. Until then, I am Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
Thanks for listening to Indiana Sports Beat Radio. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page for more clips and team coverage of Indiana basketball, football, and more. You can also find full episodes and tons of other content on thehoosier.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Indiana Sports Beat Radio.